see any credits, so that's because I can't see that way. So this is Art Fein. The show must be starting. Art Fein's poker party coming in from Hollywood with a real special guest, Geoff Muldaur. Geoff, could you favor us with a song?
Yes. People might not know it, but it's fairly early in the day. Perhaps this will show at 2 in the morning or 3 a.m. when their children are sleeping.
And this part of Hollywood's called Santa Monica.
Yeah, well, I always do this tune. Well, run here, pretty woman, and sit on daddy's knee. I got something to tell you, woman. Well, don't you holler and please. Well, I'm going down in Texas. Well, to hear that wild ox moan. And if you don't want to suit me, woman, I'm gonna drive my bell cow home. Drive my bell cow home. Your kitchen lonesome when your biscuit roller gone. That's why I'm going down in Texas, 'cause that's where I belong. Well, that is where I belong. Well, that is where I belong. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Geoff Muldaur, thanks for coming by. People pay good money to have you sing for them, and I'm paying nothing, and I really appreciate it. Do you really have biscuits where you are now?
Darn right I do.
We're talking before the show. Well, let's see. Geoff Muldaur, singer, songwriter. Really awe-inspiring guy. The more I read, the more I say.
I'm not much of a songwriter, but I've done a few. I've written a few.
It's, you look him up on the internet. It's amazing. There's lots and lots of praise for this man. But before the show, you were talking about living here in the West Coast. How long you been here?
I've actually been here a while now because I lived up in San Francisco for about 10 years, and now I'm down in LA for almost, 9.
So you're a reluctant semi-native.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's
It's
a native.
always, it's women. It's women. So I ran into this guy with the Blind Boys in...
He probably ran into you.
Yeah, well, I did.
Yeah.
I did a gig in Dublin with the Blind Boys
Uh-huh.
on a Sunday. So I did nothing but gospel music. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to this guy. I said, "Where are you living now?" He said, "Fresno." No, Stockton, California. I said, "Well, that's a woman." And he was so nailed, you know. So anyway.
You got a point there. You're from, anything outside of New York that isn't New York City, I always say upstate, but Pelham is where?
Yeah, well, I came from Pelham, which is in Westchester County, outside of New York, which put me in the sphere of that place as a kid, which is a good sphere to have been, in the 50s to grow up in.
Now, you're a folky, bluesy guy generally with lots of other interests, but there was not, when you were a kid, there wasn't a whole lot of folk blues
No,
around.
it was jazz. In traditional jazz, my brother raised me. He was 10 years older. So when he was 16 collecting 78s,
Wow.
I was 6.
Wow.
So he was like testing me and quizzing me on who's playing clarinet with Bessie Smith when I'm 6, 7, 8. So, because I was the only one in the house. Well, no, that's not true. But he couldn't carry a tune. But he loved music. And we had jazz guys come over to the house. We had, Muggsy Spanier came to our house for dinner. Man, that's heavy.
Wow.
So, and New York was, there was a lot going on down there jazz-wise. And just,
Well, in one of the bios that you talked about going to Alan Freed shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I actually have a standard first question, which is, this is kind of not good because your brother gave you records, but what was the first record you bought?
I think I know. I'm not sure of this. My first records were 78s. They were just switching to 45s.
Same here. Yeah.
And the first record I think I bought was At My Front Door by the Eldorados.
Crazy Little Mama.
Yeah, because that doo-wop thing, that was an important thing for me. And then when I got into gospel music later, it's so obvious, the connections of things. After a while, you start to see how much stuff comes out of the church, in terms of Motown or the Tom Bell thing or all sorts of stuff. So we're very lucky to grow up at the end of the golden age there.
And there you are in the New York, one of the hearts of doo-wop, and you got a first record by a group from Chicago. What about at concerts? Was the first thing?
Were they from Chicago?
Yeah.
One of the things about the doo-wop thing was you'd hear it in the locker rooms at the track meets. I mean, music was much more social.
I went to an integrated school, and kids would sing in the schoolyard too.
Yeah. Where were you from?
Chicago. Of course, I was the only white kid appreciating it. The rest of the kids were kind of, it wasn't exactly harmonious outside of the music. But
well, Paul Butterfield picked up on it too.
Oh, that's right. And Paul Butterfield, who's, would you say, second band you were in, Better Days? Was that?
That's the second major.
Are there numbers to him?
Whatever. It's pretty fortunate to be with the Jim Kweskin Jug Band and then with Paul Butterfield with the Better Days group. I mean, I could have, rested on my, underground legendary laurels, but I sort of considering myself in mid-career right now. So.
What about the Kweskin stuff? This jug band music, which is certainly never popular when it was first out. I mean, it was popular in rural areas and stuff like that.
It was never popular in the United States either. It was supposed to be, but it never was. And we've finally we've figured out why. Nobody could play the jug. I mean, Fritz
you have to keep filling it up with water and removing.
No, Fritz was just so good at it.
Fritz
Richmond, and he was the first. And you're quite the authority on it historically, but he was sort of the quintessential new hipster, post-beatnik era sort of slightly pre-hippie. You know, he's the guy who wore those little glasses first, who Lennon and everybody and the Byrds, and John Sebastian, of course, was a big Fritz Richmond fan, and Fritz Richmond named the Lovin' Spoonful, was his name, for John. John evidently tried out for the Queskin Jug Band, but he couldn't get in, and I can't remember it. But Fritz remembered it.
So the Queskin Band, you sang lead on a lot of things.
Yeah, but I've been listening to some stuff recently. Put a sort of an old compilation thing out for something I'm doing in Japan, and God, I don't like my stuff early on. I like my arranging, and I like my harmony singing. But God, I wasn't formed yet. I think
not the lead singing part. That's what you don't like.
Can't stand it. Can't stand it. And then I think I started to find my legs when I did Pottery Pie for Warner Brothers.
That was with you and your wife.
With Maria, yeah. And then, you know, I started to be able to sing.
It also mentioned in some of the biographical material I caught was a hiatus for a while.
Well, that was the crash and burn, you know, I ought to be dead kind of thing.
Well, you're speaking of it like we all know about it.
Yeah,
we all went through it. I don't know.
No, but it's the standard. It's the standard story, which is boring.
Okay. We weren't strung out. You were just not doing
it. All I know is I'm alive. And one of the things that was interesting about that 17-year break was I can sing the Wild Ox Moan now, and if I'd been singing all that time, maybe I couldn't. So.
We're talking about records and stuff like Louis Jordan, which you corrected me on, and I appreciate because I always said Louis. When I got wind of this stuff, like in 1976 or 7, a lot of imports were coming in from Sweden, on Roy Brown and Wynonie Harris and all these people. I said, "What is this? What is this?" And I went nuts for it. And I found Roy Brown and became friends with him a couple of years before he died. And I mentioned I saw Louis Jordan for about 10 seconds one day. But
well, you must have seen a lot here in L.A. if you were into things early on.
Like that, yeah. Yeah, caught a lot of the guys right before they passed.
And I wasn't into that jump thing or big band blues thing much till the last few years.
Is that right?
Yeah. There's a lot of things I missed because I was so into some other things. Mm-hmm. We had an embarrassment of riches here. You know, not everybody could be into everything.
Well, my feeling is that you don't need anything new because between 1945 and 1960, there's like, they keep putting more stuff out. I've heard a lot, and I consider myself like a 3 on a 10 scale, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not really devoted to it. I do other things, but I mean, rockabilly, that's where I'm at, but originally, and...
I just heard Carl Perkins the other night. I saw him on a TV show. He's maybe 10 times better than I thought.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because I just remember that, you know, to me, that kind of music when I was growing up was an excuse to dance with a girl. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, the only reason I liked Elvis Presley at all, other than that early Sun stuff, was when he did slow tunes so I could get close to a girl. No. Old Shep was my favorite.
Is this post-historical correction? Because nobody heard the Sun stuff until...
Oh, I might have, but I don't think I did.
You know, I mean, they weren't playing it on the radio. You weren't listening to Southern country radio. We learned to disdain the RCA stuff in time.
No, I didn't disdain it at first. I liked Hound Dog a little bit and things like that. I didn't like much after it when those LPs started coming out. I might have heard the Sun stuff. We had some pretty hip people in my town. I might have. I don't know.
But speaking of your town, so you're identified with Boston pretty heavily.
Right, because I moved up there.
College or just moved?
Yeah, to go to college, but then I was corrupted. Mm-hmm. I moved up there for a minute, then I moved to New Orleans, and I lived there in the French Quarter, and that's where my first gigs were, on Rampart Street, when I was 18.
Now, I just read a book by Pete Frame, an English book. It's called, I remember what it's called, and it's about rock and roll in England between 1945 and 60. And then, which is, you know, a real narrow interest field for us, but it talks about a lot of New Orleans jazz interest in England and post-war, and how one of these guys there who was so crazy about it that he moved to New Orleans to play in bands and then was deported for playing in a black band. He was arrested for integrating, and then...
Well, now half of them are Swedish and British down there anyway.
So you got there just a little later, luckily.
I got there in '61.
And you just walk in and you say, I'll play.
I didn't play, no. I didn't play in an integrated situation at all, no. Played over in a bar on Rampart Street, 50 cents a head, and lived in the French Quarter.
And what were you singing?
Blues.
Now that's interesting. So there might not be a shortage of darker-skinned blues singers down there at that time.
You know, I never ran into Snooks Eaglin. I would have loved to.
Yeah.
And Percy Randolph. There wasn't much of a blues scene. I got taken over to a bar in the First District one night, and they didn't want me to get in there. But some of them recognized me from going over to Alan Jaffe's place there, the Preservation Hall. So they said, no, let this guy in, which was pretty. And I saw a blues player that night named Walter with the hole in his head. and he had this. Anyway, I got back up to Cambridge, and that's where all these, crazy, wonderful people were that became my family for the rest of my life.
What about the folk boom? I mean, that was like 60 I'm just saying, were you riding alongside of it? Were you benefiting from it?
Benefiting from it because the Queskin Band, to me, was the precursor of the Grateful Dead.
Not unlikely.
Yeah. And because, and it's historical fact that Bob Weir played the Jim Queskin Jug Band album for Jerry Garcia, and they formed Mother McCree's Jug Band, right? They were flipped out by that record. And they also probably were flipped out by the fact that we didn't have striped short sleeve shirts on.
I see.
We were, it was a seminal band. That's why we came out here to do 3 Steve Allen shows. I mean, we were in Look magazine and Life magazine and Time magazine.
We're talking about Queskin now.
Queskin Jug Band. It was a cultural phenomenon in that it was time to just loosen up a little. So we were sort of the anti-showbiz thing, and the folk boom was more like the Hootenanny show.
Right, because I was more caught up with the commercial one. I didn't hear about the
Kingston Trio and all that stuff.
Which are fine, by the way.
Yeah.
I
never went for it.
I'm saying it's fine because it's. I'm not against commercial stuff also, but
hey,
I'm just saying it's a gateway, like anything else. You go in, you hear that, and you go something else. You go deeper.
Okay.
You go deeper.
Well,
some go deeper.
You have a deeper listening experience than I do. I
More
think.
democratic than you.
Well, I am very critical, but however, for all that, there's so much music. I get to be very critical and still expand my horizons all the time. I'm just bought a Fritz Kreisler string quartet that I'm reading. Listen. The Beethoven. I got all the Beethoven quartets. I'm reading like crazy.
Jeez, you're going deep.
Oh man, I'm into it. I'm writing chamber works now, so.
And recording them?
No, we performed 10 of them over at McCabe's end of January.
Just chamber music.
It was French horn, clarinet, bassoon, cello, and violin.
No jug.
And me, no jug. Poor Fritz passed away.
Oh, okay.
And I do have a recording, I can't find it, of Fritz doing the Adagio section of Mozart's clarinet concerto on the jug, man, and it's too good.
I know it's a technical question that I just tried to broach before, but maybe you don't know. Well, how do you vary the tone on a jug?
Well, it's like...
So it's like a trumpet. Oh, I see.
And he just took it to another level.
So it's more like pursed lips. It's more like trumpet playing than blowing.
It isn't blowing.
Because we think of blowing over a glass or something like that.
Right. It isn't that. It's what I just did and got lucky to even get those 2 notes out.
Those 2 notes, what were they? I didn't know they were notes, but it sounded great.
No, those were perfect notes.
What about, I'm jumping around here, but...
That's the idea.
Because I can't concentrate. Alan Freed shows. I want to know a little bit about that. I mean, did you lose your young mind there? I mean,
it was pretty good.
It must have been great.
Yeah.
That would have been. My other question is, what's the first concert you went to? But that would probably qualify. That would probably be it.
No. I went to. 1957. It would have to be Brooklyn Paramount or something. This is an interesting subject, though. I have friends that are writing books, and I was offered a book deal like 8 years ago. And I told them, I said, it's too expensive. I would have to have one or two researchers, because I don't believe anybody can remember very much.
Mm-hmm.
And what all those people in Cambridge should have done, 20 years ago, we should have gotten in a farmhouse somewhere in Connecticut. Or
Talked about the details and what gigs were and who
That's
was where
right,
and that
because
kind of stuff.
everybody has it wrong. My friend Joe Boyd just wrote a book, and he's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I found 3 or 4 things. Joe, you're crazy, man. How did you not know that blah, 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 right? So, and then I would be worse. So when I talk about the 1957 Brooklyn Paramount, I would probably confuse it with the one at the Lowe's State that I saw.
My friend of mine has the program from it, so we could do that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of research that would have been great to do. And for some reason, one of them had a comeback by Johnny Ray or something. But I was really into the Moonglows.
Johnny Ray was playing in Detroit R&B bars in the early 50s. I mean, he really was. He said, I hate this shit. I had him on the show. He says, I'd rather be singing R&B.
Huh.
So he was kind of down deep, kind of a cool guy. And
Well,
on top, too.
It was exciting.
But what about this? Because the rock and roll then should have overtaken you like most kids, but somehow you deviated into rootsier stuff.
It's funny. That's an interesting thing. Because the jazz was the bottom line.
Because you already had that background.
And early in the Bix thing and the thinking man's arrangements, you know, lots of arranging skills went into my head. Don Redman, McKinney's Cotton
Wow.
Pickers, and all that clever stuff with Bix, you know. So I think I was always thinking that way. And this is my first contribution to the jug band, was arranging skills.
Wow.
So I think, like I said earlier, I think the voice came later. But when I go back and I listen to the arrangements, they say, you know, that was fun for everybody.
Mr. Tim, could you give us some kind of time signal? 5 left already. Jesus Christ. And I got to run and you got to run, but we got to do this again if you can. So during that folk thing, the jug band went on, then you and Maria got together and made a couple albums.
Right. We moved to Woodstock, and Albert Grossman by then was our manager.
Big time.
So that gave us a lot of options.
That Woodstock would have been pre-Woodstock, right?
No.
It was after Woodstock?
Yeah. It was
After the festival. That's
1970 or
right.
something.
Oh, there? That late.
Which I was very glad to miss that.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's funny, for all the anti-establishment pose of the anti-establishment, I've always considered them followers. So if everybody goes that way, I'm heading this way. That's the way I've always been.
Well, I'm sort of not exactly against New York. I like New York a lot. It's just that their position as superior to L.A. It irks me. And,
to L.A.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've been learning about L.A., hey, I got a question for you. I would agree with you. What I'm learning about L.A., though, there's this big hole that I can't fill up, and it's this. If this place was so sparsely populated before the war, right? Mm-hmm. Why was King Oliver out here and Jelly Roll Morton,
yeah.
in the late teens? Who were they playing for? Who lived here that was a place to come?
Well, Central Avenue didn't just pop up during the war, you know. I mean, there's always been a community.
But doing what?
Well, playing mainly to the black. Well, no, but people from Hollywood went down to Central.
So
just
Hollywood
like,
was
just like
that
New York,
early?
they went to Harlem.
So the silent movie scene was big enough to where there was.
Now you're talking about pre-30.
I said 18, 19.
Yeah, okay.
It was post World War I that those two guys were out here. What were they?
Post World War I. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going? So we'll find that. We'll ask Chucky Wise.
Oh, by the way, tying up enough about you. Let's talk about me. About the Woodstock thing.
What would you think of my latest movie?
About the Woodstock thing was that it was a big festival, big messy festival, but it was near New York. If it was in Kansas, it wouldn't have got the coverage.
I got you. It's sort of like the sports thing. It's like you want to sign with the Yankees, or before it became completely big. That's where the money was.
Yeah,
Is
the
that what you're
lineup
saying?
the lineup is nice, and there were other festivals just like it, as you know, months apart.
Well, Albert said, I got a helicopter, we can fly you in here, and I said, no way, I'm staying on Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
So I had no interest in pop culture, none.
Boy, like I say, reprobate.
I just don't. There's so much to dig into and learn about and love.
It's all great.
Well, we must not be on.
Yeah, we're on. We got
Oh,
2
yeah?
minutes. Can I ask you?
Well,
for
this
some-
is loose.
Can I ask you? Yeah, very loose. Can you ask you for some music on the way out? Fans of yours are probably saying, "Why does he have him sing? Why does he keep talking to him?"
I don't know.
We'd like, and it'll be the credits. Thank you very much, Geoff Muldaur. It's been great having you here.
Maybe we'll come back, because I don't think we got started really. Maybe speaking of folk music. Hey, little mama, the world done gone away. Hey, little mama, the world done gone away. I got a bad luck deal, give me trouble every day. Well, I'm gonna put a black drape on your door. I'm gonna put a black drape on your door. You tell him your man ain't there, so don't come to your house no more. So I'm going downtown, I'm going down there to dawn. Well, I'm going downtown, I'm going down there to dawn. Hey, 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 little mama, know I'm about to carry home. Well, look out, baby, now, mama, when I get back. Well, look out, baby, now, mama, when I get back. Don't wanna find no monkey man out of my track. I got a gal in the country, got 2 that stays in town. Got a gal in the country, got 2 that stays in town. The reason I dream so nice, 'cause the one might throw me down. So I'm going downtown, I'm going downtown, I'm going downtown, I'm going down there to dawn. Hey, 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 little mama, know I'm about to carry home.
I heard Lightning Slim doing it.